Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. So I'm just a couple minutes later, decided this morning we would open up with the news events for the day. I went over it yesterday for the entire week, but today we do have high impact news arriving at 10 o'clock. And then we have a medium impact news coming during the lunch hour. One of the FOMC members is speaking. Let's see, Cleveland Association for Business Economics. So I'm not sure what type of impact that's going to have on the markets today. It says medium impact, so it's expected to have the type of volatility that a high impact does, but we'll see during lunchtime what happens there. I generally take the lunch hour off, so it doesn't impact what I'm doing. But if you are trading during lunch, just be aware there's going to be a small event happening at 12:05. Let's see what we have. Jay Stores, Molly, Richard, Chuck, JR, Robin, TTDD. I don't remember this name, but welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Mario's here. Good morning. Good morning. So I was just taking a peek at the chart earlier, just before starting the session here, and I was expecting there to be news at 8:30, just based on how much action has happened already this morning. We've already hit price moving down from the London session around 18,500, and now we're down 18,285. So we're over 200 points down from the London high. In fact, let me go ahead and put up the session highs here. So just when I first looked at it, I just thought, I said, oh, there must have been news, I don't know, 8:30 or so, just because of this last leg right here that I'm looking at. And then I was surprised to see there wasn't any news this morning. It's just price action, and sometimes without news events, you can still get enough movement to have some pretty good trades out there. Right. Now, as we look for session highs here that are still open, not traded to yet, we see London high was created here at 415. From there, price melted down, never traded back up to it. So we'll mark that off. And the London lows created here, traded through. So we don't need that one any longer. The, right, the Asia high was traded through for London. The Asia low just created over here around 9 o'clock yesterday. Traded through at 115, traded through three different times. All right, so nothing from the Asia session remaining. London low is gone. So it's just a London high for now. We'll pull in the New York numbers at 10. New York high here. And we'll see if it gets traded through. The low will be wherever we end at 10 o'clock. So we'll see. And we do have news at 10. So as soon as the 10 o'clock hour hits, wherever the New York low is, if we continue pushing lower, it's probably going to hit it immediately. But we can see now we are trading towards the March 20th London and Asia low. So these have been out there for about 2 weeks now. We haven't traded back to it, and now it looks like we're going there. You can see all the way back here on the 20th, those two levels were not traded to. So I left them on the chart, and it looks like we're going for it in sometime this morning. We have a little bit of time. Let's go ahead and grab our dollar and just take a peek and see where we are as far as on the daily levels. All right, we can see already today, we've already taken out the high of yesterday. So already swept the high of yesterday and so far pushing lower. We want to at least see it get down to this wick so there is no fair value gap. We'll see how far it wants to trade lower. Get rid of this volume imbalance. It didn't hold. We'll also see how price wants to trade. You know how price likes to trade to external range liquidity, which it did here. Right? Swept external range. Now I'll be looking for internal range liquidity, which is going to be a fair value gap of some kind. So it could be this one. It could be this volume imbalance here. So we'll watch both of those levels. We also have a new week opening gap down at 104.5. Not sure if he wants to trade there because that would take it basically any of these levels here would take it below yesterday's level. So we'd be looking at a full scale retracement from the impulse we just saw yesterday. That's about all we have time for right now. Let's get ready for the opening bell. It's coming up in about 90 seconds. We can see here on this higher time frame below March 20th levels that haven't been retraded to. We have March 19th levels also, March 18th, 19th. So pretty much levels from that entire week where we saw a bullish run up. It left a lot of lows behind that hadn't been traded to, and it looks like now we may go back and get those. We can even see just today on the daily candle. This is the last 6, 7 trading days. You can see the range of the last 6 or 7 trading days. You can see the bodies as well as the wicks. And just today, we've already wiped out. We're already back down to levels from 2 weeks ago. And just really one session, a London session trading. That's it. So that being said, let's get ready for opening bell here. Tesla down 7%. Okay, that definitely will impact Nasdaq. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Hey, Vivian. Good morning. Looks like somebody's been trading. Mr. M talking about the 920 to 940 macro. Definitely somebody's been studying, watching the videos from Hydra. that's awful, but good for all the traders looking to learn. The opening frame here, first 5 minutes is now coming to a close. You see prices has broken the previous candle's low, showing willingness to go lower. So we approach the those March 20 levels down at 234, so 18,234. Hello, Miss Healthy. Good morning. That's crazy. Okay, yeah. I just checked. I was looking at Twitter, and you're absolutely right. And a nightmare did leak all that stuff. It looks like good content. Maybe I'll check it out after the session's over this afternoon. All right. Looks like we have March 20 levels within striking distance here. And there's the London low. And there's the, no, not quite. 227.75, 227.5. So not quite there. One more tick. And then we'll take out that Asia low for March 20th. I think there's that level gone as well. All right, we're also at a 1 hour fair value gap. So let's see if price holds here. This is where we would expect there to be some level of support, to where either we get a bounce or we get a consolidation here. And maybe on a lower time frame, we would find some sort of, if it wants to turn around and maybe dig into this area, this is where we would find a breaker on a lower time frame. Let's say, while we have a few moments here, let's go and check on the dollar, see how the dollar's performing as well as the other indices. And it looks like there's a massive sell-off happening. So it's not just Tesla who, unless Tesla's on all of the indices, which it could be. I haven't checked to see if Tesla's on each of the indices. Now, this is interesting that we also see the dollar falling at a similar level as the others, whereas we would expect an inverse relationship between between the three indices and then the dollar. So at some point, there's going to be a crack. There's going to be a break where one will continue, either the dollar will continue down, the rest will bounce and start pushing upwards, or the dollar will turn around, find support in its fair value gap, turn upwards, and the indices will continue down. But for now, we wait, and that change actually may happen at 10 o'clock when we have a high impact news event. Just give me one moment here. And I'm back. Yeah, you're right. Queen probably got in somewhere up here around the midnight open. Just rode it down. At least temporarily, it looks like price has found some support here at the fair value gap. Oh, good morning. How's it going? Yeah, you're right. It's a huge regular trading hour gap, massive one. I'll just show that to anyone interested. Remember, regular trading hour gap is going to start at 4:15 the previous day and go until 9:30. So obviously 9:30 started here at 287. Previous day closed up in this area, 4:15. Yep. So we're going to effectively have a regular trading hour gap from here all the way down to here. And so this is going to be something that price is going to want to trade back into over the coming days. It could do it today if we get a full retracement and back up to the midnight open. But if it doesn't and we continue to trade lower or we consolidate, this will be something in the coming days that we'll see price trade back into. We should at least expect there to be on the first pass somewhere around half of this range, so up to around 18, almost 400. But it could trade all the way back through. So just keep that in mind if we start to see price retrace again, that it may just be filling in this gap, and we'll at least expect 18,400, but it could close in the whole thing. And remember, if you're new to TradingView or you're not as familiar, you can toggle that in the bottom right hand corner. Let's see, I'm not sure if you guys can see this. So down by where the time zone is, you'll see it says ETH, which is electronic trading hours. You can toggle that and switch over to regular trading hours. And regular trading hours will delete everything between 4:15 and 9:30. And you can see it gave you this sizable gap here that I was just showing you what it was. And price will want to trade back through that at some point in the coming days, if not later today. We can even see previous days like this one here and this small one. Price traded up, was up in this area here, and before the day was complete, it traded back down through the area, through the regular trading area gap. We had one over here as well. Price traded back down through it. So it does generally come back either the same day or the following day, but if it trades away from it and it's impulsively moving away, it may take a couple days to come back. We'll get back to electronic trading hours now. Hey, Queen is here. And Tommy, good morning all. Messiah, good morning. All right, news event in about 6 minutes. Hey, Queen, I'm not sure if you were on earlier, but one of the subscribers here, earlier mentioned that there's a user on Twitter who leaked some of Hydra's mentorship material, just in case you're interested. This guy named Nightmare released it. Let's see, here's his Twitter handle for anyone who has looked at any of Hydra's material and interested. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they have some bad blood or what's going on, but yeah, he leaked it and he's not even hiding it. It's almost like he's taunting him and daring him to do something about it. So we now have our high impact news event going. But first, let's go and check and see what the results were. Come on. All right, I guess it's too early to look for results. All right, we still have, if we push through this fair value gap below, we have the March 19th March 19th lunch low down at 18,147. But as I mentioned before, I'm expecting for price to find some sort of support here and maybe either consolidate and rest for a bit or to push up. Remember, we still have 7 or 8 minutes left on the macro. Oh yeah, I mean you have a. I always felt like people in Western Europe had an advantage on trading just because they can straddle all the trading times. Yeah, I saw that, Queen. The dollar and indices, they both were heavily, well, everything, all indices in the dollar heavily bearish. Just, I thought maybe the 10 o'clock news event would be a good time for them to break that. So we'll see. Um, I don't know, Molly, just something different. Just looking for something different. I was, taking advantage of having Friday off and spending some time doing, I don't know, some visualization improvements for the stream here. And one of the things I was looking at was different candle color combination. And I was playing around with different colors, and this one kind of stuck when I made it. And I said, okay, well, let me give that a shot. And so far, it seems like people like it, so I'm gonna stick with it for a while. All right, well, summer's on its way. Well, we just got into spring, so I'm sure everyone's looking forward to summer. So glad you like the color combo. Hey Ray, good morning, welcome. Yeah, the colors are it's the Charlotte Hornets, Charlotte Hornet team colors. And once again, retesting this 1 hour fair value gap. All right, now let's check and see if the numbers have been released. All right, there it is. Actual is exactly the same as forecast. Wow, they have really good forecasters. All right, so that should not really do much to price at all. But let's check back in and see if that has broken the relationship between the dollar and the indices from this morning, where they were all moving together in the same direction. All of them are still bearish at the moment. Although we do see a retracement happening on the dollar at the current moment. We saw a big push down during the first 5-10 minutes of the hour, and now we're starting to see a pullback from that. Meanwhile, the indices are still pushing and have S&P and Nasdaq have already taken out the low of last hour. We're still looking to see if the Dow is going to follow suit. But at the current moment, yeah, current moment, I'm going to sit on the sideline, Price has been heavily bearish for hours now. And I'm not sure when it's going to turn around, but I don't want to get caught trying to chase price. Oh, I forgot about putting in the New York low, but I figured if we were close to one of the extremes just after the hour, it would take it, and it did. So the New York low was actually here, and the New York low got taken almost immediately at 10 o'clock. That's the first thing it did was take that low out. So no harm, no foul. But we still do have the New York high not traded to and the London high not traded back to. And then we have the huge regular trading hour gap that's up here. All right, right now this fair value gap is alive and well on the 1 hour as well as the 4 hour. April 8th, okay. Next Monday. Sweet. Hey Sniper, good morning. Breaker at 9:57. Is that which time frame are you looking at? The 1 minute, the 3 minute? The one. All right, give me a second. Mm, 9:57. No, just give me a second. It could be, but then you'd be looking at a bullish breaker because it would have slammed through, sweeping liquidity here, trading above closing, and then on its retracement back down, it didn't bounce, so it failed, and so it technically. Let me see why it failed. Let me try to figure that out. Yeah, I mean, based on the structure, you could have used this here. I would have rather used this one. But it's more of the way that I like to look at them. I would rather use a swing point here as opposed to a swing point that's in between this leg, right? Because this was the most recent low, and this would be that high. And as price is trading here, it's just in between this leg here. So if price is going to dip below and sweep this low, then you want to see it take this high. So that's why this one here, even though it technically has the same formation, this one here would have been not a strong one to use. Um, One reason why I might have been persuaded to look at this area was because I would have been expecting for this area to support price and push. Um, but yeah, I would have rather used this one. So as price was building back up, I would have liked to have seen it eclipse 289. But excellent question, and one that the one that made me think there. if it's an impulsive candle coming through and continue breaking through this bearish fair value gap that was just created. Hopefully close above it. This is usually around the time that if price is going to reverse, it'll start putting in that reversal pattern. So let's see if we get something close to that. I did notice on the 4-hour, this candle here, the low, this 10-15 candle, the low of 18,202. That is the lower extremity of the 4-hour fair value gap. So price traded all the way to the bottom, and now it's starting to build out of that. So maybe that 4-hour fair value gap was where it wanted to go. So let's see if this candle continues for the next minute and a half. All right, I'm going to run and fill my coffee cup, so I'll be back in just a moment. In the meantime, while I'm gone, if you haven't already, go ahead and like the stream, please. If you're brand new, make sure you subscribe to the channel and get invitations for all the future live streams. I'll be back in just 2 minutes. Wait, let's check and see. Um, hmm. I don't see SMT, right? Not at the moment. I don't. Oh, on the 1 minute. Oh, I got it. Okay. Sorry, I was checking on the hour. don't think I've ever compared the charts on a 1 minute time frame, but that would give you the earliest indication that something was changing. Hmm. The indicator. Okay. I didn't realize there was an SMT indicator. Yeah, we need to make a higher high at some point if we're going to do a reversal here. Oh, okay. Yeah, to be honest with you, if even if I saw SMT, I could call it out, but I don't have enough experience trading it to even know what to do with it. And let's see if we get a supportive price right here in this area. Hey, Fuego, good morning. Oh, okay, got it. Signifying relative strength or weakness against others. Okay, understood, Ray. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Mm. Yeah, she was here earlier, at least in the intro, she was here. Sleepy, of course. Nice. All right. Well, good luck on your trade, Queen. Let's see how things work out. Macro coming in 7 minutes. About 7 minutes, we'll have our macro from 10:50 until 11:10. Hey, Splash. Good morning. Let's see. Mm-hmm. All right, we've spent now bulk of an hour right here at this fair value gap, tapping into it multiple times on the 5 minute frame, each time rejecting above, closing above, with the exception of uh, these two candles. These two candles close inside, all others have closed outside of and above. So we are looking for price to push higher. And if we can get up above this level at 276, then we're looking at a 5 minute breaker here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Splash. Europe did well. The rest of the world flipped their times this weekend. So yeah, we should be aligned again. I don't know why U.S. decided to change the time zone time when it would flip. I guess it was probably about 20 years ago when it was changed. But it does create a 2 to 3 week misalignment for us. Okay, you got in at 212, Mario? Okay. Let's see. Oh, wow. That was a very early and aggressive entry, but you made it. So congratulations. Right, so price was not able to break these highs. We can see these wicks it was putting up every candle, and now we see it's broken below the fair value gap here. Let's see where it closes in the next minute. Then we'll be in our macro, but we'll see if this 5-minute fair value gap holds. It's 1050. 1050 macro has now been activated, and we did close below. So let me get rid of this fair value gap. All right, so it does look like we've had mostly a consolidation since the opening bell when we reached this fair value gap here. But just keep in mind, there has to be consolidation at some point. And just before the session began, from around 4 o'clock this morning, we had about 250 point drop in price. And so there has already been a fairly large range this morning. So to expect that to continue or to reverse and continue with the same magnitude is a bit unrealistic without more of a news driver. We did have the one news event at 10, but most of the damage had already been done. And so there was just a small movement from 10 until essentially just this movement down, and then nothing after that. So we'll see what we get this coming hour. If not, we'll just set up for a nice, hopefully nice price action this afternoon. Oh, sweet. Appreciate that, Richard. You're right. The dollar is definitely retracing this hour. And as we get ready to close out, it's back at its opening value. So it pushed lower down to a 1 hour fair value gap, but now it's pulling back and possibly could finish slightly bullish for the hour. We do have a cracking correlation, however, between the Dow and the other two. S&P and Nasdaq are moving together, but Dow has flipped and is showing bullish for this hour. We are now at 11 o'clock and we have an invalidated fair value gap. So let me get rid of that. Now the question is, are we going to take out this low here? Take care. XRP below 60 cents. Okay. See what price wants to do. I was down looking at the 5 second and 15 second to see if I could notice when price wanted to turn around, and it looks like it does give you an early indication. I just haven't backtested enough to notice when it does break structure and when it does give you an impulse. How long does it last when you're looking at such a small time frame? But it does here on the 5 minute look like we're getting some sort of impulse movement here above the fair value gap that we've been trading in for, I guess, better part of an hour and 15 minutes now. Okay, got it. Got it. $229. Okay. Well, 229, and if you target these swing highs at 250, I mean, 20 points is a solid trade, especially if you're trading with multiple accounts where you can then compound those earnings. Jeez, they got in down here. Nice. All right, so we finally swept all of those highs that we um, basically consolidated through the 10 o'clock hour for. So now we're looking for next swing high to be around 275, which is also a 1 hour SIBI or bearish fair value gap. So that may be a hindrance for price progress. So if you are in a long and you run up to 275, think about how long you want to stay in and what would make you want to get out of your trade just in case you do see price push lower. Um, but the next swing high is at 275. See how far did it go? 255. So about 3 points higher. First breaker set up this morning. Hey, Vivian, good job. If you're still in, you're at 45 points now. Yep, I'm setting up the 5 minute right now on the chart just to see when it's confirmed. Back, let me hurry up and get my final cup of coffee before something happens that I want to be a part of. Yeah, Vivian, I've been there before. I've run into the same issue, exact same issue. Either you start rushing trying to get it, or you take the brakes, or you take your foot off the gas and you start being a bit more cautious, and not letting the trade develop the way it should. Yeah, absolutely. All right, yeah. Let me run and get this last cup of coffee, and I'll be back hopefully before this breaker confirms. All right, still no confirmation. Way to get back in, Vivian. You confirm the 3-minute. Open macro during the macro time, we get a retracement back into the range. But first, we need to get a confirmation that the 5-minute breaker is in fact a breaker and one that we can use as a trading idea. If we can get price to push up, we already have a fair value gap, thus creating the unicorn. And there's one here as well. But due to the size of this breaker, I'd rather take it at consequent encroachment. And I like the fact that consequent encroachment of the breaker is the same as consequent encroachment of the fair value gap here. So you see these, the dashed lines sit on top of each other. And so I'd be more inclined to take that one. Right. And we also have price likes to trade down to the last price leg that pushed lower. Right. So it likes to trade down and mitigate that as well. And we can see consequent encroachment here is at 238. Consequent encroachment of the breaker plus the fair value gap is at 244. So it's about 6 points away. So that would be the area that I'd be interested in entering, not at the very top. Just as Queen mentioned, your stop loss is from 275 down to 213. So now 60-point stop loss is too rich for my blood. I'd rather take the 30-point stop loss and get in at 244. But again, first step, well, not the first step, but the next step is first confirming the breaker. So it needs to trade above 275 and close on the 5-minute chart. Did you say 2 minutes is also a breaker? Let's go and check out the 2-minute. We got here on the 5-minute for now. All right, we've crossed over into, now it's 11:30. We're in the back half of the hour here. And I'm waiting to see if I get an entry somewhere around 11:50. So price retracing here is actually not terrible news for me, because I do want to see price trade above, close above, thus validating the breaker here and trading back into it down in this area sometime between 11:50 and 12:10. Oh, half of the range. Yeah. Yeah, Queen, have you looked at the regular trading hour gap? So that might be a 50% of that might be a good place to retrace to. All right, let's see if in 3 minutes we get a closure above, validating the breaker block here. Appreciate you, Mario. Thank you. Yes, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button, please. Minute left. We're still trying to close above 18,275. Take 20 seconds. Let's see if we can do it. Not quite. Maybe the next candle. So we'll give the next candle a shot and see if it can get up there. If price wants to trade into one of these fair value gaps, either the one that it's currently right at down to 259, or if it trades into this one, which is at 243 or 244 as a median or consequent encroachment point. You know what? While we're at it, let me go ahead and add the one below. We're waiting for price to trade above and close above the breaker here. Let's be careful. If we make it to lunchtime and we still haven't broken above, let's make sure anyone who's in a long, currently in a long or looking to long, be careful as price may look to trade lower into these fair value or to the lowest fair value gap, or maybe even lower than that, maybe sweeping this low. So just be careful if we make it to lunch and we haven't quite traded above and closed above. Then it may spend the lunch hour doing something different, and we may have to wait until the afternoon to get the reversal. We're still expecting it before 12 o'clock, but just fair warning, just in case it doesn't get there. All right, we have twice as many people as we have likes. Go ahead and hit the like button, please, if you're enjoying the content. And again, if this is your first time, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well. Make sure you never miss out on any of our sessions. Well, Frank, for me, there's several factors that go in. Um, One of the first things I look at is for this entire price leg, if I took an entry, where would I place my stop loss? And so based on where the stop loss needs to go, um, there's a certain area that my risk tolerance will allow me to enter. And so even if I'm wrong, like what if this is the fair value gap that's traded to the one up top, this one, right? Even if it trades to this fair value gap and then takes off, based on my risk tolerance, I would have to let that trade go and I would miss. But typically what you want to do is you want to first measure your price leg, and the one that's if you're looking for a long, the one that's below 50% in a discounted price range, is more likely to be the one. So that's one of the factors. Another is I use confluence between this price leg going down and its consequent encroachment, which is here at 238. The breaker, its consequent encroachment is at 244, and the breaker and the fair value gap overlap with their consequent encroachment point. And so for me, that at least gives me a start of as to where I would like to enter a trade. But then, as I mentioned, you want to look and see where your stop loss placement needs to go. And to ensure that you have the best odds of winning this trade, to be honest, your stop loss needs to go below here. Now, that's a very low point and a lot of people don't use that one. A lot of people use the breaker plus 1 or 2 points. So the low point of this breaker is at 213. So you'd want to have your stop loss somewhere around 210 maybe to try to protect your entry. But even then, so if your stop is at 210, how many points can you absorb based on your risk tolerance? For me, I don't like to go over 25 to 30 points. So that would mean I can't enter before 240, 18,240. And so I'm looking at 18,240 and it's this fair value gap again, but it's at the very low end. So I would have to enter down here somewhere. So in this case, what I would do is I would extend my stop loss. I would enter a consequent encroachment. And instead of having a 30-point stop loss that makes me comfortable, I'll end up having to do a 33-point and just having to deal with it. Right. But this could be the fair value gap that price uses. And you don't know. You just have to choose which one you're comfortable with. And like I said, because of my risk tolerance, I need to enter down here somewhere. If price hits this fair value gap and takes off, then that's not my trade. I missed out on it and there's nothing I can do. But entering up here and then putting a 30-point stop loss, you end up having a stop loss here. And if you get stopped out, you could have had a winning trade. You just just chose the wrong entry point and weren't patient enough to wait for it to trade back down into your position, or you let FOMO get in the way and you wanted to make sure you were in the trade. So those are some of the things, some of the downfalls or pitfalls that I've had in trading where the idea was correct, but my entry and stop placement was incorrect. And so I ended up with a losing trade on a winning idea. No, I would not enter before a confirmed bullish breaker. No, the breaker is prior to even putting a limit order down. I need the breaker to confirm. So right now, if it trades down here, I'm not entering. If it traded down here and I entered now, then I'm really not trading off the breaker. I'm trading off an OTE from this price leg. Right. And I'm looking for the breaker trade. So I need the breaker to confirm first. Right. Without the confirmed breaker, this could just be a liquidity grab, failure, and then price could just trade lower and we could see price continue down. Now, one thing I was thinking about is, so the breaker hasn't confirmed yet. However, if we now get this retracement all the way back down and it start trading into these areas, and then we finally get the breaker confirmation. So if we do this and then it trades up and confirms the breaker, then I may be interested in taking an entry right here, because all of this has been traded into already. Oh, forgot about it. We are 2 minutes into the macro here. And we've already hit consequent encroachment of all the levels except for that lower fair value gap. So I'm pleased with the retracement so far, but we have not confirmed the breaker yet. The date the fair value gap there, and we did. Okay, go back to the 1 minute, see where we are. We're gonna have a question for you on the 3 minute breaker. Are you using the down wick on the 10 o'clock candle? And then also, are you using the up wick on the 1003 candle? Right, so this, just let me put the fair value gap back up. I know it makes it very colorful here, but this green area down here, remember this is the 1 hour fair value gap. Just tap right back on it, and then we start seeing some bullish momentum here. Let me go to the 5 minutes so it's a bit easier to see what we're looking at here. Okay. The bodies have not closed below the mean threshold of the 3 minutes. Let's just take one more peek and see where we are on the USD. All right, dollar trading inside the range of last hour's candle for this hour. So not really doing much at all, just consolidating. We got the same thing going on the indices. They're all traded within the range of their previous hour's candle. We had a slight trade above on Nasdaq, but for the most part, the body and everything stayed in between the range of the previous hour candle. So we didn't get a lot of progress at 11 o'clock there. And so let's move back over. And so, like I said, I would like to have seen a candle body close above and then a trade back in for a long. Since we did the retracement first, if we now pull ahead, trade above, close above, I would not need to wait for the trade to come all the way back down, because I would assume all of this price range to be balanced price, and I wouldn't expect it to trade back down here if we get above this area. So if we get above this area, I would be taking an entry at the top of the stop of the breaker and probably have my stop below the consequent encroachment here. But my trade didn't activate. The breaker was never confirmed. So we just got a morning consolidation. We got a little tape reading session, and that's about as much as we got this morning. So that ends our morning session. We have an hour break, and then we'll be back at 1300 for the afternoon session. As I said before, please like the stream. It really helps me out quite a bit. It helps YouTube figure out which streams people are enjoying so they can promote them to others. So hopefully you enjoyed the stream and you're able to click the thumbs up button for me. If you're brand new, this was your first session here or your first couple sessions and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you're always getting invitations and reminders for when we go live to make sure you don't miss out on anything. And yeah, that'll do it. I'll see you all in 60 minutes. So take care, enjoy the lunch hour, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.